You're not bad with money. The price of being alive has quietly gone insane. You work, you pay the bills, you're doing everything right, and somehow your bank account still looks like it's on a crash diet. Rent goes out, groceries go out, debt payments go out, random subscriptions sneak out, and your paycheck just sits there like, that's all I had, sorry. This video is not about shaming you for buying coffee. It's about exposing where your money is actually going, the stuff no one explained when they said, just budget and you'll be fine. We're going to talk about the real cost of housing, debt, food, convenience, healthcare, lifestyle pressure, and something almost no one includes in their calculations, your time and your mental health. By the end of this, you're going to see why life feels so expensive, even when the headlines say things are improving, and more importantly, what you can start doing to push back without moving to a cave, eating dry rice, or pretending you don't like nice things. Welcome to Virtual Finance Navigator, where we talk about money the way it actually feels, not how textbooks pretend it works. If you've ever opened your banking app and thought, how am I broke again already? Stay with me till the end. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you're brave enough to admit your money seems to evaporate. Let's break down the real cost of living and how to stop it from eating your entire life. Number 1, the illusion of doing fine. On the surface, a lot of people look like they're doing fine. The bills are mostly paid, the lights are on, there's a car in the driveway, and the kids have snacks. That's the Instagram version of life. The bank account version tells a very different story. Doing fine has quietly been redefined to mean nothing has bounced yet. There's this constant background tension. You're not in crisis, but you're not relaxed either. One unexpected bill, one car problem, one sick day, and the whole month goes crooked. That's not stability, that's a tightrope. The real cost of living shows up in those tiny moments nobody posts. The quick balance check before tapping your card. The mental math before saying yes to lunch. The quiet panic when 3 debits hit the same day. From the outside, it's a normal life. From the inside, it's a constant game of financial musical chairs. A lot of people blame themselves for this. I must be bad with money. I'm grown and still stressed. But most budgets are built on an old story. Work hard, pay your bills, and you should be okay. That story didn't factor in skyrocketing housing, medical costs, debt, subscriptions, and everything else quietly raising the entry fee for everyday life. So you get this weird split reality. Official statistics say wages are up a little, inflation is cooling, and the economy is resilient. Meanwhile, regular people are asking, if everything is so great, why does it feel like I'm drowning a little more every year? The illusion of doing fine is dangerous because it convinces you this is just how adulthood is supposed to feel. Constantly tired, constantly paying, constantly behind. You start thinking, maybe this is normal. Maybe I'm just overreacting. No. The real cost of living isn't just what leaves your account. It's how much of your mental and emotional energy gets consumed just trying to stay afloat. When fine feels like tension, exhaustion, and quiet fear, that's not a personal failure. That's a system problem. The first step is naming it. A lot of people you see looking fine are juggling just as hard as you. Once you stop pretending everything is okay, you can actually start building something that is. Number 2, housing, your biggest silent partner. If your money was a business, housing would be your biggest, loudest investor. It takes a large chunk of your income every single month, and unlike an investor, it never asks how you're doing or what your goals are. It just wants its cut. Housing is usually the single largest line on the budget. Rent or mortgage, plus all the extras, property taxes, insurance, repairs if you own, fees if you don't, and utilities that seem to climb for sport. People will fight over a 5 naira price difference on bread, but quietly sign up to send half their take-home pay to a landlord or bank without a second thought. Why? Because housing is emotional. It's not just a roof. It's safety, status, comfort, neighborhood, school district, and ego. I can't live there. I deserve better than this. What will people think? Those sentences are incredibly expensive. The real cost of living shows up heavily in where you choose to sleep. Paying extra for a short commute, safer neighborhood, or better environment can absolutely be worth it. But a lot of people are paying more for a zip code, a look, or a lifestyle that doesn't actually match their income. The house is cute, the bank account is not, and downsizing is treated like failure. Moving to a cheaper place, getting a roommate, leaving a nice area, those are often framed as going backwards, so instead of adjusting housing to match reality, people stretch everything else. Less saving, more credit, more stress. The home starts to feel less like a blessing and more like a very pretty cage. Here's the harsh truth. You can't out-budget a house that's too expensive. You can cut coffee, cancel apps, stop going out, and still feel broke if housing is swallowing you whole. That doesn't mean everyone should rush to move. It does mean housing deserves honest scrutiny instead of automatic justification. Housing is your biggest silent partner because it sets the tone for everything else. When that number is too high, every other part of your financial life is forced to play defense. When it's right-sized, suddenly there's breathing room for things like savings, investing, and not being constantly stressed. If your life feels tight, start by asking, is my home working for me, or am I working for it? Number 3, debt, financing the lifestyle and the past. Debt is where yesterday and today gang up on your future. Every payment you make towards something you bought months or years ago is a reminder that the past still has your money on subscription. On paper, debt can look perfectly reasonable. Student loans to invest in your future, car loans for reliable transportation, credit cards for emergencies. Buy now, pay later. To spread out costs. Each one comes with friendly language and soft colors. They're all here to help you afford life. In reality, you're not making life more affordable, you're making it more expensive over time. Interest is the quiet tax you pay for getting things sooner than your income could handle, and that tax adds up. Minimum payments feel small, but they are engineered to keep balances alive long enough for interest to feast. Debt turns the cost of living into the cost of existing plus rent on your past decisions. You're not just paying for internet this month. You're paying for last year's emergency, last holiday season, that time the car broke down, and a few "I deserve this" moments that hit a bit harder now. The wild part? Carrying debt has become so normalized that people feel weird for wanting to be debt-free. Everyone has a car payment. Everyone has a card balance. Everyone owes something. That mindset is profitable for lenders. For you, not so much. The real cost of living through debt isn't just the interest, it's the way it locks up your cash flow. Money that could go to savings, investing, opportunities, or simply breathing room is automatically spoken for. When something goes wrong, a job loss, a crisis, unexpected bills, debt turns a bad situation into a panic situation. None of this is to shame you if you're in debt, it's to reframe it. Debt is not just a normal adult accessory, it's a drag on your future self. The more you lean on it to finance your lifestyle, the more your future paychecks are pre-booked before you even earn them. The goal is not to fear debt, but to respect it like fire, powerful when contained, destructive when it's everywhere. Using it once in a while is one thing. Living on it is signing a long-term lease with stress. Number 4, the food trap, from groceries to takeout. Food is one of those categories where numbers in real life constantly wrestle. On a spreadsheet, it's groceries and dining out. In reality, it's, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I didn't plan, and I'm not cooking after a day like this. Groceries have climbed in price, which everyone feels. But behind the rising cost of food is another factor, the cost of time and energy. Cooking at home is cheaper per meal, but it demands planning, shopping, prepping, and cleaning, on top of everything else you're juggling. Takeout and deliveries sell you back your time in exchange for your money. The trap is that convenience doesn't look expensive in the moment. It's just one order. It's only lunch. We'll cook tomorrow. But tomorrow is just today with a new outfit. Before you know it, half your food budget, and sometimes way more, is going to restaurants, apps, and drive-thrus. Delivery apps add another layer. There's the food price, the service fee, the delivery fee, the tip, the "we just felt like adding a bit more" fee. By the time it arrives, you've paid enough to feed yourself twice at home. You're not just paying for food, you're paying for someone else's time, fuel, and platform profits. The real cost of living in this area isn't just the total you see on your monthly statement, it's the way food spending quietly expands to fill any lack of structure. No plan? That's a plan. To spend more. No default meals. That's a default to takeout. Food becomes the pressure release, the treat, the reward, the therapy, and the last-minute emergency solution. Again, this isn't to say never eat out. Life is still allowed to be enjoyable. But if you're constantly wondering where your money went, the kitchen and the delivery apps are suspects you can't ignore. Small changes here can free up surprising cash. One extra home-cooked night, prepping a few simple go-to meals, or setting a weekly takeout budget instead of whatever happens, happens. You don't need to become a chef. You just need to avoid outsourcing your food decisions to your exhaustion. Because when tired you is in charge, the card comes out, and future you gets the bill. Number 5. Subscriptions and convenience. Death by autopay. Subscriptions are like digital barnacles. 1 or 2 is no big deal. 20 of them and suddenly your bank account is full of tiny creatures clinging to it, each taking a little nibble every month. Once upon a time, a subscription meant a magazine or maybe a gym membership. Now everything wants a monthly relationship with your card. Streaming services, music platforms, cloud storage, apps, software, games, digital tools, pro versions of everything, boxes delivered to your door, even some coffee plans. Each one is only X naira per month. Individually small, collectively rude. Autopay is what makes them dangerous. When money leaves without your conscious involvement, you stop feeling it. There's no little internal debate, no "do I still use this" moment. The transaction happens in the background while you're busy doing life. The real cost of living here isn't just the cash, it's the way subscriptions normalize permanent financial commitments for temporary wants. How many subscriptions represent something you actively use and love, and how many are leftovers from a version of you that was in a different mood 6 months ago? Convenience behaves the same way. You pay extra for ease, same-day shipping, premium accounts, skip-the-line features, anything that saves time or friction. In isolation, these feel like smart trade-offs. But when convenience becomes your default, the price of simply existing goes way up. Most people never intentionally decide, "I want to spend a whole second phone bill's worth of money on subscriptions and convenience." It just happens. One click at a time. This is why doing a subscription audit can feel both painful and powerful. You suddenly see how many companies you are in low-key financial relationships with. Canceling some of them isn't being cheap. It's telling your money, "I'm paying attention again." Convenience is not evil. In a busy life, it can be a lifesaver. But when your budget is tight and your stress is high, you deserve to know how much you're paying to avoid small inconveniences while living in one very large one, constant financial pressure. Number 6. The healthcare and insurance tax on your life. You don't see health listed as a line item in your budget, but you definitely see healthcare. And depending on your situation, it can feel less like support and more like a subscription fee for the privilege of staying alive. Premiums, deductibles, co-pays, prescriptions, random lab bills that arrive 3 months later. Healthcare expenses have a special talent for showing up at inconvenient times. Insurance is supposed to protect you from catastrophe, and in many cases it does. But it can also feel like paying a second rent just to not go bankrupt if something bad happens. The real cost of living includes more than what you pay when you're sick. It includes the price of staying well. People delay checkups, stretch medications, ignore symptoms, or skip treatment because they're worried about the bill. That savings often turns into a much bigger cost later when small issues become serious ones. Then there's all the other insurance: car, home, or renters, life, maybe dental, vision. plus whatever else your situation requires. Each one is rational on its own. Together, they form a quiet army of debits marching out of your account every month, whether you use the coverage or not. It's easy to resent this. I'm paying all this money and still paying when I actually need help? But insurance isn't really there to make things cheap. It's there to prevent ruin. You're paying to avoid the kind of bill that doesn't just hurt, it destroys. The mental load here is heavy. You're constantly calculating risk. Can I afford this plan? What if I don't get it and something happens? Should I go to the doctor or wait? That constant weighing of health versus money is its own stress, and stress isn't great for your health. You can't erase the cost of healthcare and insurance, but you can acknowledge that this is a major reason why life feels so expensive, even when you're doing all the right things. Understanding that helps shift the narrative from "I'm failing" to "this system is heavy." From there, the goal becomes maximize what you can control. Use preventative care when you can, know your benefits. Don't be afraid to ask questions or negotiate bills. Take your health seriously before it forces you to, because the only thing more expensive than healthcare is ignoring it. Number 7, the cost of chasing the middle-class look. There's the middle class and then there's the middle-class aesthetic. One builds wealth slowly, the other builds content for social media and very healthy profits for car dealerships and phone companies. People don't just buy things, they buy identity. The right car, the right phone, the right clothes, the right vacations, the right home decor. None of these are evil. The issue is when they're purchased not because you genuinely want and can afford them, but because you're trying to signal, "See, I'm doing okay too." The real cost of living here is social pressure. You don't want to be the only one driving the old car in the office lot, or the only person without the latest phone in the group chat. You don't want your kids to feel left out because their shoes aren't branded enough. You don't want to post boring photos, so you swipe a little deeper, stretch a little further. The companies know this. They sell lifestyle as aggressively as they sell products. Payment plans and financing options are marketed as gateways to finally having what you deserve. You're not just buying a thing, you're buying a story about your place in the world. The problem is the middle-class look is getting more expensive while real middle-class stability is getting weaker. So you end up with people who have all the visible signs of success and none of the invisible foundations: savings, investments, security, wealth cosplay. That cosplay is expensive. It locks you into car payments, phone payments, clothing splurges, and habits that eat up the very money you'd need to build real stability. You pay to look like you're winning while quietly losing ground. This isn't a call to live joyless or never treat yourself. It's an invitation to ask, who am I buying this for, me or an audience? If the people whose opinions you worry about vanish tomorrow, would you still want what you're paying for? The most powerful flex going forward won't be the car or the watch. It'll be freedom from debt, from panic, from needing to prove anything with your purchases. That's the part of the middle class that never goes out of style. Number 8, time, the cost you don't see on your statement. Money gets all the attention, but time is the quieter, more savage currency. And the real cost of living shows up heavily in how much of your time is consumed just maintaining your life. Commuting is a perfect example. Hours in traffic or on public transport, day after day, just to get to and from the place that funds everything else. Add up those hours over a year and you start to realize you're paying for your income with huge chunks of your lifespan. Then there's overtime, second jobs, side hustles, weekend gigs, and just one more shift. For some, this is a strategic season to get ahead. For others, it's survival, the only way to keep up with bills that refuse to shrink. Either way, the cost isn't just exhaustion. It's missed time with family, delayed rest, hobbies that never happen, health that slowly erodes. Convenience purchases, takeout delivery services are often attempts to buy back small bits of that time. You're paying extra for the privilege of not having to do everything yourself. Sometimes that's smart, sometimes it's a bandage over a bigger wound. a life structured so tightly around work and obligations that you're constantly trading money for minutes. There's also the mental time tax. Even when you're not physically working, your brain is budgeting, worrying, planning, replaying. That invisible cognitive load leaves less room for creativity, relationships, or actual rest. You may not be on the clock, but you're still working for your bills. The brutal part? Most systems are not designed for you to have much free, high-quality time. The more stressed and overworked you are, the easier it is to sell you convenience, entertainment, and quick fixes. The hustle needed to afford life creates the exhaustion that makes you spend more just to feel okay in that life. Great for business, rough for humans. When you think about the cost of living, it's worth asking, how many hours am I trading each month just to stay afloat? If I stripped away the pressure to impress and the unnecessary obligations, how much of my time could I reclaim? Quality of life isn't just what you own or earn, it's how much of your life is actually yours. Number 9, the mental and emotional price tag. If you've ever opened your banking app with your heart beating a little faster, you already know money is deeply emotional. The real cost of living isn't just what things cost, it's what that cost does to your peace of mind. Constant financial strain can feel like background noise you can't shut off. Every notification, every bill, every unexpected expense pokes at the same nerve. Even simple decisions, going out, buying something, saying yes to an invitation, start to feel heavier. You're not just deciding what to do, you're calculating, justifying, worrying. Over time, that takes a toll. Anxiety becomes normal. Sleep gets shallow. You might snap at people you care about, not because of them, but because there's a never-ending mental spreadsheet running in your head. Money becomes the topic you avoid in conversations until it explodes into an argument. Shame is another costly piece, feeling like you should be further by now, comparing yourself to others, believing you're uniquely bad with money. All of that isolates you. The less you talk about it, the more alone you feel. The more alone you feel, the harder it is to ask for help or even look your situation in the eye. This emotional load also affects your decisions. When you're scared, you might grab onto quick fixes that hurt later. High-interest loans, too good to be true deals, impulsive spending to feel something other than stress. Or you freeze and do nothing, letting problems quietly grow because facing them feels unbearable. The real cost of living under constant financial pressure is that you're never fully present. Even in good moments, part of you is elsewhere. Inside your bank balance, inside next month's bills, inside a future you're secretly afraid of. Recognizing this isn't about being dramatic, it's about being honest. Money stress isn't just inconvenient, it's health stress, relationship stress, life stress. It deserves real attention and compassion. Not just more, you should budget better lectures. You deserve a life where money is a tool, not a constant threat. The first step toward that is dropping the shame and saying, okay, this is heavy, I'm human. Now what can I start changing? Number 10, how to fight back, designing a life you can actually afford. Here's the good news, you don't have to fix the entire economy to improve your own situation. You just have to start designing your personal economy on purpose, rather than letting lifestyle, marketing, and pressure design it for you. Step 1 is brutal honesty, not vibes, not, I think I spend about. Real numbers, track a month. Where does every naira, dollar, or cent actually go? Housing, food, debt, subscriptions, everything. It might hurt, that's okay. Clarity comes before change. Step 2 is separating necessary from normalized. Just because everyone around you has a certain kind of car, phone, neighborhood, or weekend habit doesn't mean it's necessary for you. Housing can sometimes be adjusted. Cars can be downgraded, shared, or delayed. Subscriptions can be canceled. But everyone else is not accepted as financial evidence. Step 3 is building margin. That means cutting leaks and low-value spending, negotiating bills when possible, slowing down upgrades and impulse purchases. You're not punishing yourself. You're freeing up cash so you're not always one surprise away from chaos. Step 4 is playing offense, not just defense. You cannot shrink your way to long-term freedom. You have to grow your income. That might mean learning higher value skills, starting a side hustle or freelance work, using tech and AI to do more in less time, positioning yourself for better paying opportunities. More income with the same habits just leads to a fancier version of broke. More income with a smarter structure leads to options. Step 5 is creating simple systems, automation for saving and investing, a routine for checking in on your money without obsessing, a plan for what you'll do if income changes. The goal is to move from constant firefighting to consistent, boring, effective habits. The real cost of living isn't going to magically drop, but you can absolutely lower your cost of stress. You can design a life that might look less flashy from the outside, but feels a lot better from the inside. You don't win this game in a weekend. You win it by slowly, stubbornly shifting from surviving the cost of living to actually living your life with money serving you, not the other way around. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me all the way to the end. We've just pulled apart what normal life really costs. From housing that eats half your paycheck to debt that rents space in your future, to subscriptions, takeout, healthcare, and the constant pressure to look like you're doing well while your bank balance is begging for mercy. If there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this: you're not crazy and you're not alone. The game really did get more expensive, but you're not powerless. Tiny intentional moves, tracking where your money actually goes, cutting the stuff that doesn't truly matter, and slowly growing your income and skills can shift your whole trajectory over time. If this video helped you see your money differently, do me a favor. Like this video so more people find it. Subscribe to Virtual Finance Navigator for more real talk money breakdowns. Comment one change you're going to make after watching. And share this with a friend who keeps asking, where does all my money go? Let's stop just surviving the cost of living and start building a life that actually feels worth the work.